Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're going to be discussing fiancé visas. We're going to be discussing specifically the issue of what's called lift of conditions. Now, as a preface to this whole discussion, let me first of all point out, lift of conditions is fundamentally different than adjustment of status. For information on adjustment of status, there's another video specific to that issue also on this channel. What we're talking about here is lift of conditions. So let me go through sort of a timeline and then sort of explain specifically the lift. So in most cases involving a K-1 fiancé visa, the foreign fiancé of an American citizen, and it has to be an American citizen, the foreign fiancé of an American citizen obtains a K-1 fiancé visa from abroad. They enter the United States. They're admitted into the United States with 90 days of lawful status for the sole purpose of marrying their American fiancé and filing for adjustment of status. Once the couple is married, they can then turn around and file for adjustment of status. What does adjustment of status mean? Well, in short, it basically means adjusting from a K-1 over into lawful permanent residence. Again, there's a specific video on this channel regarding that. I suggest you use the search function to find that video, and it will go into much greater detail about that overarching issue. But with respect to adjustment of status, once the adjustment of status process is complete, and presumably once the adjustment is approved, the K-1 fiancé will be issued an I-551 stamp, and they will also be issued an actual green card. They'll be issued their green card, the actual resident card. That initial resident card will be issued for 2 years because that K-1 fiancé will be considered in conditional lawful permanent resident status. Only a bureaucracy could come up with a term like that. Conditional lawful permanent residence means, while in lawful permanent residence, they are a lawful permanent resident, they must lift their conditions to become an unconditional lawful permanent resident. What does that mean? Well, it means that the same conditions that existed when they were granted their conditional lawful permanent residence must still be in place at the time that they request that their conditions be removed or lifted. So what does this mean? 90 days prior to the 2-year anniversary of the issuance of the I-551 stamp, the K-1 fiancé, former K-1 fiancé visa holder can file to have their conditionality removed or lifted. So what that means is they go from getting a 2-year green card, and they go from being considered a conditional lawful permanent resident to being considered an unconditional lawful permanent resident, and they'll be issued a 10-year resident card, and their residence itself from a legal standpoint will be considered perpetual, so long as they don't engage in some activity, criminal or otherwise, which could place them into deportation proceedings or make them inadmissible to the United States, etc. So the thing to take away from this is, yes, adjustment of status is one part of the process, but even after that individual is granted lawful permanent residence, they still need to deal with lift of conditions in order to maintain that lawful permanent residence into the foreseeable future.